the products we're using in today's video. I'm going to talk you through a few extra bits. Now the paper that we're using, you've seen that little bit pop up with the paper, that is this one here. Now this is a cheap cartridge paper, and the reason why I'm using sort of the cheap paper on these step-by-steps, I think it's good for you guys to use cheap paper because you're practicing. And if you had expensive paper and you're practicing and you make a screw up and it goes completely wrong, because it does, we all go through mistakes, it's part of the learning curve, you're going to be throwing that paper away. So a cheap cartridge paper like that works really well, and I think this paper is really good to work with the FW. It absorbs just enough, it's quite smooth to the surface, and the paint lays on it really well, so that's why I'm using it. Now another little tip is, when you see the paper that I always put to the side of the page, and I always say test your paper before you commit, cut a piece of paper the same as what you're using. So when you test your paint and pressure on that side piece of paper, it's exactly the same paper as what you're working on, because if you add a more absorbent one to the side, you're going to get a false reading, and you'll commit on this, you'll set your brush up for this paper, and then when you move across to this one, it's going to be completely different. You probably have a blowout straight away or spiderweb. So just when you get your booklet, take a page out. All you need is a small little square, so you'd get a few of these little practice test pieces out of one sheet, and then you've got a few of them, you can stick it to the side and you know that's the paper you're working on. And I do that with sort of every paper. If I'm working on a decent one, put it to the side. I'm going to start doing this in the videos as well. When we start working on aluminium, and I start showing you that, because that's a completely different ball game, I'll have a little cube of aluminium at the side and we'll test to the side, and I'll start doing that, so you get to see what I'm working on, testing on, and the piece that we're actually working on. So that's a good little thing to do. The paints that we're using, we've got FW, it's my go-to now for the colours. I've just gone and picked some more up, as you see in that little clip. Hobbycraft, they do quite a good selection, and it's a good price as well from there if you're not ordering from Amazon, because not everybody's ordering things online. They tend to like to go to shops, keep the local businesses going. So FW mix range I've got here. Now I've just pulled some random ones out. I've got a cool grey, I've got a golden shading grey, FW black, an FW dark grey mix, I've got a brown, a dark brown, a light skin tone, I've got a sepia, and I've got a red, and I've just sort of picked them thinking, right, we can use them to tint these bits down. We've got the greys, we've got some darks, and we can work with these colours and sort of mix them on the fly. So I can mix a couple of bits in the brush. Now mixing in your brush, it can be done. You would pop the lid off your airbrush, and I'd go for minimal paint every time when you put it in your brush. There's no need to fill your cup up. A lot of people tend to overfill the cup and you just throw in paint away. So I would go 2 drops to 3 drops max. Then I'd drop a couple of drops of ISO off these mixes that are thinned already, and do a couple of drops of ISO or a couple of drops of water. And then if I were going to be tinting them, I'd be doing minimal, like 1 drop, tinting it down and then bubbling back. So to bubble back your airbrush, on the H&S you've got the prong cap at the front, so you just pinch over the front, press down and just slightly pull back like that and rock your finger back, and it will bubble the air back into the cup and it will mix your paint for you. Then go to the side, test it, check your colour, and that's how I'll be doing it on the fly. So it's sort of quick. It saves you getting little mixing pots and mixing batches of paint up in pots, because I guarantee you'll mix too much, and then if you've not got lids for these, you'll be throwing that paint away. So if you can mix minimal small quantities as you're painting, because when you look at pictures you've probably got like a grey tone here that's slightly different to the one here, or a green tone that needs a little bit of shading on here, a darker tone in here. So you're not mixing a lot of paint. You don't need to mix a lot of paint. You're doing droplets at a time. So if you can keep it minimal, it'll save you paint. And this is what I mean by these bottles last me ages because you're using very little. It goes a long way, guys, it really does. So that's a little bit about that. Cleaning products, I've got the carousel, the new carousel addition to the studio. I think it's a brilliant bit of kit for a £5. You can put all your cleaning products in it and stick it on your table, so it's all contained in one area. You can just go to that, spin it round, and you've got all the bits you need. Instead of having bits everywhere, it's just in one place. So I thought that was a good addition. £5, B&M, job done. Air pressure, we're running low. On this, we've not got a MAC valve on the brush, so dialing in my pressure will be on the fly here. I'll be bringing it down. You'll probably see me in the video just dialing this in, going up and down on the pressure as we move around the picture. But you can do that on your airline. So the first thing to do is I'm going to move you over to a time lapse. It's only going to be a little short one, but you'll see me project the image up and you'll just see how I do that in the time lapse. We'll go around, get the image projected up, and then we can move in and start the step by step. So I'll see you in a minute. Right guys, we are going to make a start. Now the first sort of tone that I've got mixed up, I've got a skin tone one here which is like a very sort of like warm skin colour. I've mixed it up with a little bit more white. I'm just going to test it on the piece at the side. I'm just going to drop a little bit around these eyes and just start to work in just a little bit on these eyes. And put a little pass round. Like that. Just a very light pass, and I'm going to do the same colour just off this nostril round here. Put a little pass in, just warm them bits up there. Like that. Now I'm going to go for a little bit of white. And one drop of the red and make that a very soft pink colour. I'm just going to drop this on here as well. Just going to put a little tone of this in on these eyes. Around the bottoms. Like that. I've got a little bit of that around this nose. Just going to drop a little tint of that on there. Like that, a little bit more there. Just redden these eyes a little bit. This is what I said by mixing minimal paint. You're not wasting a lot, like one drop. Give that a little clean through. Blast through. Always put your lids back on your paints when you don't use them and just go through them like that with the little bottles. It's a lot easier doing it that way. Right. the next colour I'm going to try is a little bit of burnt umber, and we're going to start to put some of this in here. Around the bottom of this eye. Just do some little bits. Coming up. Pass of that around the bottom of that eye, same as this one. Dialing this brush in. Just do some little lines. Around the bottoms of these bits. Shade a bit in round there. I'm going to go into the nostrils with this one and just put a pass in. Like that. You can see that spider in them. This paint is really thin. Darken that out. Just a little bit of that. Just going to drop a little bit around there. Like that. Now I'm going to go for one drop of black in that mix. I'm going to put a darker tone in around here. Around these eyes. Same with this one. Just going to flick this that way. Drop a little bit of this around here. Warm these eyes up a little bit more in a minute. A little bit darker on this in here. My first shapes may be different to what's on the image, but I've always said make it your own. See, it comes together. A little bit of that in the nostrils just to darken that edge off. Not a lot, just a little. Clean the brush out. Just give that a clean cotton bud because we've put a few colours in there. A bit more ISO, give that a clean through. And just stop for a bit because we've used a few colours there, just give it a good clean and then get your next colour ready, which we're going to drop a bit more red on this in here. Just going to tint these back a bit around here. Give them a bit more red like that. Put a bit more colour in these, like that. Just warm these nostrils up a bit more. Like that. Drop a little bit of that down there. A little bit there. Right. What we'll do is we'll start. I'm going to work the fur in round this bit here. I'm just going to go in with the shading grey. And just start to add my own textures into this, coming round this bit at the top. Little dagger strokes. Just follow that pattern. Around the bottom. Drop a little bit of that in the eyes on the bottom. Right, coming around this bit. Round. Drop some darker tones in on this a little bit later. Here. Like that. Beauty of the shading grey is you can go over it and work it darker. So you can just keep building up on it, but this one's very, very thin because I've had trouble with the shading grey. So if you are having trouble with your shading grey, having to really thin it, just let it dry, move away for a bit and then go back to it. And just build it up. Just do a little pass around there, couple of little dots and just work this way around here. Work these in. A bit around here. Drop a bit over there. Corners of the eyes. A bit more shading grey. Just working this shading grey. Coming round. Like that. We're going to darken this up. I'll do a little bit down here. Follow that. Let's get that line in place there. A little bit there. Few little dots around that part of the mouth. Right, let's clean that out. I'm going to go for the burnt umber with the black again. I'm just going to go in here. That's in here. A little bit in there. Drop a couple of these. Whispering out here. Right, just flick them into the grey. Like that. Just tint over that. Got a bit coming around here that's dark, so just flick some in here. Like that. Just give that a little bit more of an edge. And here. I'm going to go a little bit darker in that nostril. A little bit more in that one. And just building it up. Get the shield. Alright, got a lot more to do here, a bit more in here, coming around to get that a little bit more shape, but the main sort of Where are you going round? That's how we're going to do it. Just going to clean this brush out, give it a good clean. Right, I've got some white with a teeny bit of sepia in it, just to put a little tone of that in here. As I say, my textures and my colours and that will be slightly different to this, but you can make it up as you go along. You've not got to get everything absolutely mirror merged. Okay. Just going to warm him up in places. Why not? A few little strands of that in. Hello. Right. Blast that one through. Going to go back in with that skin tone. I'm going to drop a pass down here. Like that. Same on this here. Drop a bit in there. Brown that up a bit. Just come in and just do a little blast over that. Just in here. Get a little bit of paint in there. Raw umber and a bit of black, darken it out. I'm just going to do some bits in here. Turn this into the dark around here. Do a few darks off this edge here. Shield that off. Perfect shield for that. Do some bits coming out. Do some little dagger float streaks, soft, coming out like that. So don't worry about if you've not got. My fur's different to this. It doesn't matter. As long as you follow the shapes on the way they're sort of going, it'll look fine. We'll do a bit over here. Some little bits in there. Bits like that. Yeah, we're getting there. So we've got to drop that bit in. Like that. clean that brush through. Right, we'll just start to work some grazing on this. On here. Like that. A little bit more around here. Go over to this one. And we can drop some, you always bang some Posca highlights in on this and then just tint over them. And some little random patterns in here. Like that. Let's get a little bit more in here. Some randomness around here. Like that. Some more whispering. One's coming out. Let's set these back here a bit more. A bit more grey. Right, we go in with brown this a bit. Warm this up a bit. Warm inside them ears up a bit with them. Bit of brown. And on them. Like that. I'll do for warming that up. A bit warmer in here. Drop a tone of that in there for now and darken that out. And just sort of building it up. All that. Just go and just darken some bits out. this hair. Bring the hair around. Hair can be as random as you want. As long as you sort of follow the shapes, you'll be good to go. I wouldn't worry too much. Back off, go light, get a light pass, then just drop a darker pass next to it. Like that. My tones are probably slightly different, but as long as it's sort of going the same way, it will look absolutely good enough. Right, you shouldn't get a shadow now. I've turned my cap round. Do some little sharps. Bring that hair out a bit sharper. And as I say, just do it random. He's having a bad hair day at the end of the day. I'm not following every strand, I'm just doing my own interpretation of it. As long as you follow your sort of lines, it'll look absolutely fine. Put some of this colour into these. Just warm them edges up a bit. This is a black mixed with a bit of burnt umber, just to warm it up. Just give it that little warm it up over the edges. Have a bit down there, have a bit down there. We'll do a pass of that in there as well. And under there, and over there. Like that. Yeah. fog that one out a bit. Random. That'll do for the hair. And drop a little bit of that down here. Just do some little flick outs in this bit. Drop a little bit of that other side of that. Like that. Drop a little bit more in here. Very lightly puff a bit on the edge, just soften it up. Like that. Yep, that bit's in quick. Dropped on a few little light flicks. Out. Little sharp ones, just give it some little sharp edges. Same here. Put the soft ones in and the little sharp ones in. Like that. Right, what we'll do is we'll hit this with a bit of a Posca as well, and we'll just drop a few highlights in, just coming across. Just to brighten a few bits. Around there. A little bit around these nose bit here. Just pop them forward a bit. A bit on the eye. That. Do some little sink them back. Random ones. Just pop them over your darks and it just boom, just pops them. You can drop a couple in the hair, just very lightly. That'll do for some highlights. Right, we can move on to this piece. Got that bit, and then we're going to tint over the tips of some of them highlights, just bring a little bit more in here. A bit darker shade there, around here. Bring that up. Like that. Darken these out. Darken that shadow out there. Like that. Set these back a bit, darken it off. Like that, make that a little bit more prominent. That's better, just puts a little bit of shadow, just makes his eyes set back a bit. And just roll a little bit more in the bottoms. That's better. I'm going to shadow this down here a bit as well. Bit in here. And loop. A little bit here. Just getting them shadowy areas in. Like that. Yep. Just do a bit on this cup while we've got that dark tone in. A bit on. A bit around here. little bit of that handle. Just work around that bit. All right. Like that. Little bit there. I'll add a little bit of tone into that cup in a minute. On the bottom of this cup, just going to tint it up. That'll do. A little bit of that on his lip. Just drop that in now. A little bit down here as well. A bit across there. A little bit of that on the inner of the ears and all. Just see it dotted about. So we'll drop it in. when you really pinch and zoom on the image, you can see these tiny little bits. Right, my Posca paint pen. Just some little dot markers on the eyes. On this cup. I do. Right, we can move on to, we'll move on to his top. Clean the brush. Just give it a blast through. In fact, we'll do this piece. Now, got a little bit of turquoise, and I'm going to drop a little bit of, let's just try and drop that in here, let's have a look. To tint that back. That'll do, we're going to go with that colour. Drop this in here. Let's have a look. Then nip over the top of this with a just going to drop these in, and I'm just going to tone it up with a bit of shaving grey. Right. Just free up them in. Ain't gonna go too sharp. Some of them edges. Like that. few little bits. I'll just do his top in the same sort of colour. Right, give that a little blast through, clean it out, then we'll go in with shading grey. Just put a little bit of shading around here. Like that. Same there. Few little hello. Yeah, that'll do for that bit. Yeah. Now I'm just going to continue how I did that down here onto this. Same, put the stripes in, then go in with the shading grey tint over the top, and we'll just mirror match it to that colour. So we'll just work some these stripes in. Like that. here. Right, let's get some shading grey in, get that little clean through. Back bubble, bit of water. Little test. I'll just drop some shading on here. Right, let's darken this off. Got some dogs around here. Very lightly, just going in with a touch of black, very lightly. Bottom of that cup. We're not far off, guys. Not far. A little bit of burnt. And we're in that black. Button. Like that. Drop a little bit of warmness up here. A little bit there. Just give it that flick of that. That'll do. I think we're going to go with that. Yeah. I think that will do. On there. Just going to do a few little very faint. Why not? Just do a few little flick outs. Like that. And we are done. There you go, guys, we got it down. I hope you picked up enough in the video. My cap was, the peak was just coming across the light, so it may look a little bit shadowy, and then we spun it round. I didn't realise until I stopped and checked the camera. But we got it down looking like the image. Just built it up. As I say, when you start doing these like fur type looks going round, just sort of make it your own, because you can really beat yourself up trying to mirror match every single strand. There's no need. These don't mirror match any of these, but you look at the image and it all comes together at the end and you go, yeah, that's that. Because there is that much sort of going on with the strand. You don't sort of, you're not homing in on that one there to that one there and looking and going, well, that's wrong. When you stand back and look at the whole image, it all comes together. So we work the tones in. You see me going through the colours and just sort of building it up, because you can't do any erasing or your scratch back, so you're just sort of building it up and doing the dagger strokes. This one is a really good one for homing in on your dagger stroke skills. It really is, because you're getting on and off the paint to get your sharp points, and then backing off and doing the same sort of dagger stroke to get a softer edge. We work the hair in just one tone. That was black mixed with a little bit of burnt umber, and I just went in light past to give it a light sort of pass through, and then go a little bit closer and then hit it to make a sharp line to give you the different type of tones coming through on the hair. Work down onto the cup, sort of a little bit of freehand, held the shields up, and you see me just working round holding the shields. These shields are working brilliant for me, they really are. There's some really handy shapes on these, as I found out with this one, going around using the shields and holding them up. You've got your straight edges which are nice, so you can hold the straights up when you need a straight. So the third time in with the shields, the new set, they are really, really nice to work with. So hope you've enjoyed it. The brush, cannot fault it, really can't, really comfortable. I love this H&S. This one is my favourite H&S at the minute. It's the Graudez. It just works. It's just easy to clean. I had no dramas with it. A little bit of testing, and I'm just straight in because I've got faith in this brush when I just go in, bang, 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 smash the work out. Comfortable, really comfortable with the Evo trigger in the top. 0-2, gets the sharps down and does what you want it to do. So excellent brush by H&S. So I hope you enjoyed it. Drop your comments, guys, and I will see you lot in the next one. Cheers.